part of the power that happened in Nashville that brought us to this place where we're naming the John Lewis Way is because some of us are learning to live, learning to love, learning to see our fellow human beings in the human family, and know that what we have seen and what we have heard and what we are feeling must be the way we live and work, because the John Lewis Way is a sign of the new Nashville that is yet emerging.
In 1959, when he was a Vanderbilt student at the Divinity School, Reverend Lawson began holding workshops to instruct local college students in the principles of nonviolent change. One of those students was Representative John Lewis. Lewis took Reverend Lawson's teaching to heart, and he soon applied his knowledge to organizing sit-ins at segregated lounge counters not far from where we were today and where we passed by on our march. And in so doing, he helped change the world. Reverend Lawson paid a heavy price for his activism. In 1960, Vanderbilt University expelled him because of his role. The expulsion made national news, and the dean of the Divinity School and many faculty and students left the university in protest. Yet, living his conviction of peace and forgiveness, Reverend Lawson eventually reconciled with Vanderbilt and returned to teach at the very university that expelled him. Today, he is one of our most revered alumni. I am deeply honored to be here with him and with you, representing Vanderbilt 60 years later, as both a marker of how far we have come and how far we have yet to go. Reverend Lawson continues to entreat us to engage with one another in a message of love, not hate, creating an opportunity where we can cherish our common humanity in a time of polarizing polemics. At a time when these virtues and values are often overlooked or deliberately ignored, his message carries more weight than ever, inspiring new students and leaders to follow in his footsteps.
Moved to tears and called to action is how so many of us feel every time we think about John Lewis's time in Nashville, demanding more from ourselves even today because we know we can and should do better, be better, are better.
No other prominent American represented the harsh realities and the high hopes of the civil rights movement over a longer period of time in public life than John Lewis. No other prominent American bore such steady witness over as many decades to the belief, grounded in Scripture and in the American tradition, that all are in fact created equal. No other prominent American stands as tall, looms as large, or inspires as deeply in the journey toward a more perfect and more just union. The world was one way before John Lewis came out of his mother's garden, and it was another way when he was done a year ago, when he was honored and buried as a statesman of the Republic. Though to be strictly accurate, he was never truly done, and we aren't done either. Democracy and decency and justice are under assault. The vote is under assault. John Lewis would not give up, and in his memory, we won't give up either.
For you see, we in Nashville witnessed these and other seminal events, changing events. Also for certain, if not for Reverend Lawson and his teachings and the courageous leadership of John Lewis, we would not have seen the success that took place in Nashville in race relations, or for that matter, across this country at that time. To Reverend Lawson and to the late, great John Lewis, we thank you for your lives of service and your shining examples of moral courage that we needed then and even more so now.
A good man is gone, but his dreams, our dreams, his will, our will, and we, unlike to see his like again, must serve his memory by making good the promise of it.
He was a man of tremendous word, but even better spirit. He was a man of extraordinary commitment to the truth of this democratic experiment in America.
So to have this struggle continue on, it requires each of us to recommit ourselves to the task of living to the full, which means loving to the full, which means seeing all of ourselves in one another.